This podcast is part of the Michigan Sports and Entertainment Podcast Network. Go to michigansportsandentertainment.com for more great podcasts.
Hey guys, welcome to the Faves of Our Lives. I'm Kelly, and your other host is Brittany.
Hey everyone.
Today we're talking about Will and Grace, and we don't have a guest because the world is hateful and homophobic. So let's just drink some vodka and talk about that.
Yeah, so my friend Mark was supposed to be on the show tonight, and he ended up having to cancel because he had a situation at work. Apparently, what happened was someone that he was dealing with asked his manager if he was a slur. I will not say the term because I'm not a gay man and I find the term offensive, so I'm not going to repeat it.
I'm relieved that you didn't say it.
Yeah, I do not like that word at all.
I was like bracing myself for it.
Also claimed that he made sexual suggestions towards him. So he's dealing with that at work, even though his manager knows that he didn't do anything. It doesn't even make sense. The guy had to ask first if he was gay before making this claim. Wouldn't you just automatically assume that a guy was gay if he was offering you sexual favors?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, why would you have the need to ask someone else?
Right. Well, newsflash for all of you sensitive straight men out there, not every gay man wants to have sex with you.
Most women don't even want to.
True. Okay, so we can move along and try to get things going on a better note. And we are going to talk about Will and Grace, which premiered September 21st, 1998. It was on air for 8 seasons. That is excluding the current run. Like I said in the previous episode, we are only doing shows that have ended, so we are pretending as of right now that there is not a continuation of the show.
Don't even ask us.
Don't ask.
I'm just kidding. You can ask us anything. We don't care.
The cast was Eric McCormick as Will Truman, Deborah Messing as Grace Adler, Megan Mullally as Karen Walker, and Sean Hayes as Jack McFarland. The general plot is Will and Grace live together in an apartment in New York City. He's a gay lawyer. She's a straight interior designer. Their best friends are Jack, a gleeful but proud gay man, and Karen, a charismatic, filthy rich, amoral socialite. Who, I'm just saying up front before we even start, apparently, hands down, she is everybody's favorite.
Yeah, she's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, every single poll that we put out, it was Karen, Karen, Karen. I get it.
I'm really sad that Mark's not here because even though he said that he wouldn't, I would have tried to talk him into doing his Karen impression.
He would have done it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think he just needed somebody to talk him into it.
Yeah, all you would have needed to do is put a martini glass in his hand, and he would have done it. The first episode that we're going to talk about is called Will on Ice. It's from season 1, it's episode 11, and in this episode, it's Will's birthday, and all that he wants is for Grace and Jack to get along enough for the 3 of them to go out to dinner. Grace says that will never happen because Jack doesn't like her. Will says she's crazy and asks Jack. Jack says it won't happen because he doesn't like Grace. Will is used to this because he never gets what he wants for his birthday. During a trial run dinner, Jack and Grace bond over their love for ice skating and decide that they're going to get tickets on Will's birthday. Will agrees, but then gets upset when he hates it. Grace apologizes and gives him a thoughtful gift. All is forgiven. As I said, this episode starts out with Will and Grace discussing what Will wants to do for his birthday, and he says he never gets what he wants anyway, so he's stopped expecting much. But he does tell her that he would like to have dinner with her and Jack. Grace makes a face and tells Will that she doesn't think Jack likes her. Will says she's imagining things. Grace, I loved her comparison here. She says something like, Will is the main entree, Will is the meat of the meal, and she's the coleslaw.
Yeah, he's like the big juicy cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny too because let's be real, we've all felt like we were the coleslaw.
Oh yeah. That's my everyday life.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, just
You're a juicy burger.
Just soggy, vinegary coleslaw. Jack comes to Will's office and tells him his ideas for Will's birthday. Will rejects all of the ideas, one of which is a cruise ship. It's like a gay cruise or something. And Will makes some kind of comment about, oh yeah, just what I want, to be around a bunch of seasick queens. And he goes on and on. This man is such a cynic, and I love it.
I would go on a gay cruise.
Me too. Which, I mean, okay. I'm talking about even, like, a gay male cruise.
Gay men.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That would be fun.
If Dan Levy's there, sign me up.
Yeah. We really need to talk about your infatuation with gay men.
I don't know. They're
attractive. Yeah.
Because they care about their appearance. Which I guess is why I married a straight man that takes like an hour in the shower.
There you go. What did they used to call that? Metrosexual?
Yeah. Chad is definitely metrosexual.
I'm sure there's a new term for that now. We're old.
Probably. It's probably like, I don't know. I don't even want to guess because I don't know.
No. That was like the original Queer Eye of the Straight Guy. There's a new one now. So, I don't know. I'm sure that they have some term. We need Urban Dictionary.
But there's nothing wrong with that. Like, women appreciate a man who takes a long time to get ready, who cares about their appearance. Like, I mean, I get mad at Chad because he takes forever and he's always running me late, but I do appreciate that he cares what he looks like.
Jack is in Will's office, and the interaction here that I love is Will, per usual, is just giving Jack a hard time. And everyone knows that Jack is pretty dramatic, but he is one of the most quotable characters on the show, which is another poll we ran. We'll get to that. But he says to Will, he pretends that the phone is ringing and he picks it up and he says, "Ring, ring, vicious, party of one." And I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
Will decides, since Grace thinks that Jack doesn't like her, which she's right, and Jack says he doesn't like Grace, that he's going to put them together and, just to kind of get to know each other again. They know they have a past, but they've kind of drifted apart.
He's gonna, force them to be friends.
Right, exactly. So, they are kind of talking about ideas to do for Will's birthday, and the conversation just isn't going anywhere. It's basically just Will putting stuff out there.
He says, Grace, Jack doesn't like flavored coffees either, and Grace is like, yeah, I don't, and Jack's like, yeah, Will just told me.
Will just told me that.
It's like the worst conversation ever.
So they decide to do this game that Will and Grace play frequently, where they get entertainment weekly and they play Love Her, Hate Her. And they just point at someone in the magazine and say whether they love or hate her.
Which Jack actually invented that game, by the way.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah, because she says something like, oh, you'll love this game or whatever, and he's like, I know, I invented it.
He's so bitter.
He is.
They get to a picture of Michelle Kwan, and Grace says, love her. Love, love, love her. And Will says, who is it? Grace is super offended by it, and she was like, what? You don't know who Michelle Kwan is? And Jack walks around the corner, and he is just as offended, and boom. Jack and Grace find what's going to bond them. And they just start going on and on about ice skating, which I didn't get very many of the references. Kelly, I'm sure you did because you are a fan of ice skating.
I love figure skating. That was my favorite part of the Olympics always. My mom actually took me to, I'm pretty sure it was Champions on Ice. And I tried Googling it today because I wanted to fact check myself. So it's either Champions on Ice or Stars on Ice. But regardless, it was Olympic skaters, a bunch of them on ice. It was sponsored by Campbell's. And my mom took me and it was the greatest thing ever. Thanks, Mom. Love you.
I mean, that is pretty awesome. I'm not a figure skating fan, but that's cool that you got to see Olympians.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Tara Lipinski, maybe Michelle Kwan. There was another person.
Tanya Harding.
No, This was after the whole Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan thing, which I was obsessed with that whole thing too.
Yeah.
But I think Oksana Bayul might have been there. I'm not sure, but she was one of my favorite. And then there was like Scott Hamilton and Brian Boyano. They're just all awesome. I love them all.
Yeah. I do know some of those.
Christy Yamaguchi. Sorry.
Yep.
That's who was like my favorite.
But you forgot her name.
Yeah, I know. Like, it sounds stupid, but it's a hard name to remember, to be honest.
I'll give you that. No, I recognize some of those names. Actually, the South Park movie has a song about one of the men figure skaters that you mentioned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's pretty
Oh,
I think
jeez.
it's What Would Brian Boitano Do or something like that.
Mhm.
It's pretty funny.
Scott Hamilton actually has cancer.
Really?
I wonder if he's okay.
Why did I think he was a tennis player?
I don't want to say that because of the whole Surrey thing, but now I want to know if he's okay.
Yeah, speaking of the Surrey thing, I need to address the fact that you asked how Katie Holmes was doing, and I was like, oh, she's dating Jamie Foxx, and 4 hours after it was released that they broke up.
Yeah, it was like literally the next day, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did we cause that? Or maybe they did it as a whatever distraction?
Maybe. I don't know, but they could have, given us a little, they couldn't have told us 4 hours sooner.
Yeah. Now we look stupid.
Inconsiderate. Grace and Jack bond over ice skating.
Oh! Sorry. Scott Hamilton's from Toledo.
Really?
Yeah.
So is Katie Holmes.
Oh my gosh. It's a conspiracy.
Oh.
Get conspiracy friends on the line.
Call them up, have them look into it. They'll get to the bottom of it.
They will.
So Grace is trying to make dinner reservations for Will's birthday, and she talks to Karen, who, as I said, is a rich socialite, so she has connections, and seriously, it takes her 3 seconds to get a reservation at Will's favorite restaurant that's impossible to get into.
I love this scene because she's just like, who's this? Put blah 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 on the phone. This is Karen Walker.
Yeah, and then, when she's like, oh yeah, how are you, everything? Okay, I'm busy, I gotta go, and just hangs up on them.
Yeah.
She is super excited to tell Will that she booked the best restaurant in New York, and Karen was like, oh, yeah, so when should I show up? Or no, when she was booking it, she said reservation for 3, and Karen said, oh, thanks, honey, I would love to come 3. And Grace said, actually, make it 4, because obviously she couldn't tell Karen she wasn't invited when she's the one who got them the reservation.
Right.
So Grace goes and tells Grace goes and tells Will that she booked this restaurant, and the only negative part was that Karen has to go, and he's kind of bummed about that, but he gets over it really quickly when he realizes that it's his favorite restaurant. Jack comes by Will and Grace's apartment with 4 tickets to Champions on Ice. The only downside is that it is on Will's birthday. But Will tells them it's fine, they can go, because Grace was so excited that she jumped into Jack's arms, and I thought that interaction was pretty cute.
Yes, it was. She was like, oh, it's okay if you don't want to do it because it's your birthday. And he's like, you literally jumped into Jack's arms. So you guys both want to go, so obviously we're going to go, basically.
Yeah, he says, the last time a woman did that, a woman's never done that. Cut to Karen, Will, Grace, and Jack are watching Champions on Ice. They are there in the, what do you call it, arena?
Yeah, I think it's an arena. Rink?
Ice rink. They're at the ice rink. That makes it sound like a small town. Whatever. Grace and Jack are completely enthralled with what is happening, and I get it, it's their obsession. Karen and Will, however, are not. From the very beginning, Will is trying, but you can just tell he's miserable. Karen keeps saying stuff about ice freaks and everything else. She's got a large lady sitting next to her who she obviously is terrified of, because every time she slips, she's always complimenting the woman so she doesn't get the shit knocked out of her.
She's like, not you, honey.
Yeah. This t-shirt is heaven on you.
It is heaven on you.
And, of course, Karen immediately pulls a bottle of champagne out of her purse. And she has 2 glasses. She gives one to Will. That was nice of her. That's about as much kindness as you see out of Karen, typically.
Yeah, and she says, don't think of it as drinking. Think of it as mommy's little cotton candy.
Yeah. I also liked the scene where Jack is, I can't remember the guy's name again. I'm not good with ice skating or figure skating. But it's Rudy something. And Jack's like, oh, that's him. He's my favorite. He's my hero. He's the gay one. And Karen says, one?
Yeah, he must be from another country because I did not recognize him. His name.
Rudy Galindo. That's his name.
Or maybe he was before my time. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, the ones they mentioned on the show besides Michelle Kwan, I'm like, I don't know them. But I know a lot about figure skating.
Yeah, I think that we're at that weird age where we're not old, but we're not young.
Yeah, we're just in between.
Yeah. We're the mediocre generation.
Yeah, but we're in the prime of our lives.
That's true.
So we should be happy.
Yep. I also loved when Will is talking about how hungry he is, and Karen yells at the figure skaters, skate faster, we have reservations.
Yeah, that was funny. And then I also wanted to say that Will finally gets his popcorn, and Grace accidentally knocks it out of his hand because she's so excited. And she's like, oh, don't worry, I'll get you another one. And he's like, it took me like an hour to get this one. I don't want another one. I want this one. And I'm like, oh my God, drunk Will is a toddler.
Yep. So is drunk Brittany, by the way.
I guess everybody drunk is basically a toddler.
Yeah.
Taking care of toddlers like taking care of a drunk friend.
So, finally, Will just walks out, and Grace finds him hiding at home and reminds him that all he needed to do was say that it wasn't okay. And he realizes this. You can tell when she walks up, he feels stupid. He should have just said that he didn't enjoy it. He doesn't blame her. And they go back inside, and Grace says, the night's not over. I can redeem this night. And she pulls out a cowboy cake, which at the very beginning, Will says that for one birthday, all he wanted was a cowboy party with a cowboy cake, and his mom got him a clown cake. Why would you do that to your child?
Clowns are the worst.
They are the worst. Ugh.
I used to work at a restaurant. Well, I've worked at a lot of restaurants, but one that I used to work at, I waited on a table of clowns. And they were the best customers ever.
Well, yeah, because they have such a bad rap. They have to, be overly kind.
Yeah, but normally clowns are scary.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that. But they're good customers.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You don't really see a lot of McDonald's commercials anymore with Ronald McDonald.
No. But Ronald McDonald, shout out to him because he's doing, I know he's fictional, but he's doing a lot of good in the world with the Ronald McDonald House.
I agree. He's one of the good ones.
Yeah. But really, it's all you people that are going through McDonald's throwing your change in the box. So thank you.
Yeah. My cousin had twins, and they were born prematurely, and one of them almost died during birth, and they had to go to Children's Hospital. And the Ronald McDonald House is where they stayed for, I don't know, it was like $16 a night or something because of donations.
We stayed at the one in Columbus for free when Cruz was born.
When
he had to go to the NICU. I never actually stayed the night there, but we had a room there. I went there and showered.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that they got it super cheap. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it was free, but... Regardless, $16.
They asked for a donation.
Okay, maybe that's what they did then. Maybe they...
Yeah.
But it's that's really nice.
When I get rich, I'm going to send them a huge check.
Me too. And also, I'm going to build a huge cat shelter for someone to take care of cats so I stop acquiring them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abby, if you're listening,
You better be listening.
Do not call me about another cat. I'm at my limit.
Oh, that cat would have died, though.
Yeah, that's true.
It was, way too cold that night.
Yeah.
She would have died for sure.
So if you hear hacking in the background, that's because I am in this room with a quarantined cat because she's on antibiotics.
Or it could be one of my kids.
Yeah. The next episode that we're talking about is called Homo for the Holidays, which is probably one of my favorite titles of any episode of any show. It's from Season 2, Episode 7. It's Thanksgiving, and Will and Grace are planning dinner. They tell Jack that they've invited his mother, and Jack gets really stressed. His mother shows up, and it becomes apparent that Jack has not told her that he's gay. He has told her that he used to date Grace, which shocks Grace and offends Karen. After a heartfelt speech from Will, Jack comes out to his mother, and she accepts him. Kelly, do you want to start off on this one?
Yeah, so my favorite quote was like 2 seconds into the episode. It might have been like the first lines of the episode. So Grace is like, okay, here's the Thanksgiving menu so far. Apple pie, pumpkin pie, blueberry tart, an ice cream roll. What am I missing? Oh, cake. We need cake. And Will says, did you take a bong hit before you wrote that? I love that so much because I love dessert.
Yeah.
And it's hard to eat real food.
I'm like that on Thanksgiving with real food, though. I shouldn't say that. So, I'm one of those weird people that I do not think that the turkey is the main course of Thanksgiving. I think all of the side dishes are the best part of Thanksgiving.
My favorite is sweet potatoes.
Yeah, I made some really good sweet potatoes for Thanksgiving this year.
You know, we always go out to eat, and we went to Young's Dairy, and their mashed sweet potatoes were the bomb. They were so good. They probably had like half a pound of butter and a pound of brown sugar in them.
Yep.
They were so good.
Yeah, I did butter, brown sugar, walnuts, and a few marshmallows. They were pretty good.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your house next year.
Sounds good. We always
This
have
year.
it here. It is, yeah. Where have you been? We're 3 months in.
I forgot. I'm in my own world.
So, yeah, Will and Grace are shocked to learn that Jack never told his mother that he was gay, and they encourage him to open up to her at Thanksgiving. But the way in which they find out that Jack has not told his mother cracks me up, because basically she comes the day before, she does a dry run, which I think is hysterical. She just brings this empty it's not Tupperware, it's glassware, but like she made something and she's timing how long it took her to get there, and I thought this is something my Grandma Joy would do.
Yeah. Like, I don't do that, but, like, I will, like, check MapQuest and, like, have everything ready to go for the next day, like, whenever we're doing something like soccer, for example. I always have to make sure everything's ready the night before.
What a freak. Like, in my job, I'm pretty professional about planning and everything, but in my life, it is just all spontaneous. Whatever. Yes, whatever happens. I don't know. It's kind of chaos, though.
I guess I'm just weird then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tweet us or Facebook us if you are like me and plan everything out the night before.
Yeah, we want to know, do you just wing it, or are you a planner?
I mean, I wing some things, but other things that give me high anxiety, I have to have every detail planned.
See, that's my problem, though, is I get extreme anxiety if I'm planning something and it doesn't go the way that it's supposed to, and if I plan something, it never goes the way it's supposed to. So I just stopped planning. My wife told me expectations are just planned disappointments.
What?
No, yeah.
I mean, I agree with that, but I like to have things that are within my control, I want to have planned out, so I'm ready to go in the morning.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna do a poll.
I mean, unless it's work, like that doesn't give me anxiety because that's an everyday task. It's just whatever.
I'm not talking about work. I expect it, and
I expect work to be unpredictable. Unpredictable.
Predictable. Yeah, unpredictable.
I've had a few beers, guys.
Yeah, we always do when we're doing this. Sorry.
We have stage fright.
So, she's doing this dry run, and in the meantime, she tells Grace that she really wished that Grace and Jack would have worked out, because she thought that they would make a cute couple. And as the elevator is closing, she says, What do you mean? Jack and I never used to date. He's a whole my god, she doesn't know. I thought that line was hysterical. And first of all, I want to say, you and I talked about this a little bit. I feel like Deborah Messing is the modern day Lucy. Yep.
Her facial expressions are definitely, they're so Lucy.
She definitely has physical comedy down. And maybe it's the red hair that has me thinking that. There are plenty of other comedic actresses out there that do physical comedy well. But she just, to me, physically, the facial expressions, it's Lucille Ball.
I think it's definitely the facial expressions. That's what makes it so similar.
The other thing, I forgot to mention this, when they're telling Jack that his mother is coming, they're trying to get him to guess who the guest of honor is going to be, and he says, "Don't try to trick me into thinking that Cher is coming again this year." Is Cher coming? And I gotta tell you, I would love to have Cher at my Thanksgiving table. So Cher, if you're listening, the invitation is open. You and Kelly can show up together if you'd like.
I don't know her in real life. I mean, I know who she is, but we're not gonna, carpool together.
Just tweet her. She's always on Twitter.
I tried tweeting people. It didn't work out.
That's true. Jenna Fisher let us down on the Office episode.
The other day we were talking about that and you said that, but I never tweeted her. It was the Parks and Rec people that I tweeted.
Oh, Jenna Fisher, I
feel
apologize.
Like if I tweeted Jenna Fisher, she'd be like, "Yeah, girl, what time?"
That's right. Your husband talked you out of tweeting Jenna Fisher.
Oh, he did?
He did. Because you were going to do it, and he said that was dumb.
Oh, he might have said that. I don't remember. My memory sucks, but that sounds like something he would say.
Yeah, he and I are going to exchange some words. First of all, he keeps calling our podcast a blog.
Yeah.
And second of all, we could have had Jenna Fisher on the show. I just know it.
Okay, but, he streams Call of Duty live, so that's where he's at in his, technical abilities. Yeah. I don't know what to say. He really, 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 really wants to be on our podcast.
You know what? If he's good, and once we get to the movie season, if there's any horror movies, I'm sure he would do a great job with that.
Yeah.
But that's only if horror movies are voted some of the favorites.
Yeah, I might sit that one out.
No, you will
not.
Just
kidding, I won't.
You are
I'll
the
take
co-host.
One for the team.
Just get your vodka ready and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it on mute. He said if I was still recording when he came home, he was gonna come in and be like, "Hello, Lucy," and then be like, "Oh, sorry, wrong show."
Oh my god.
He's such a nerd, but I love him.
He is a nerd.
I did yell out when he was streaming one time. I yelled out, "Are you doing your blog?"
Yeah, because he can't edit anything out.
Yeah, because it's live, so I feel like I started a war, but we'll see.
So, Thanksgiving has arrived. Jack shows up at Will and Grace's apartment, and he doesn't know that Grace already knows that he lied. So he comes in, and he's like, "Where's Grace? I need to talk to her." And she closes the door behind him and says, "Hello, lover." Karen shows up. She finds out that Jack's mother doesn't know that he's gay. She says one of my favorite lines, "What is she, headless?"
Yeah, because, okay, I think she had a suspicion. She didn't
for
know
sure.
For sure, but she definitely had a suspicion, because she even said something like, "Oh, you didn't notice my bangs?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I did that voice.
It kind of sounded like her. No, and in the next episode, there's another comment that Jack makes that I was like, she knew. I think it was one of those things where she knew, but she didn't really want to automatically assume because he hadn't told her. And they seem very close, so maybe she just thought, well, he hasn't said anything, so...
Yeah.
But Karen comes in, automatically gets upset once she finds out that Jack has said that Grace used to date him, because she was like, "What about me?" And Jack tries to explain to her, "Karen, when I made up that lie, I didn't even know you," but it is not good enough. Karen is upset. So Jack's mom shows up, and Jack shouts out, "Sarah Jessica Parker, hide me."
I love that.
And so they're sitting at the table, and they come up with this idea of how to kind of get Jack to come out to his mom. So they go around the table and each person says what they're thankful for and a secret that they have, which I thought was kind of a good idea.
Yeah, but it's weird.
It's not a common game, so she should have known something
okay,
was up.
Everyone, let's play 2 truths and a lie.
Right, at the Thanksgiving
Except
table.
for one thing you're thankful for and a secret.
Yeah. Jack starts to get nervous when it comes around to him. I can't even remember what the other ones were, but he runs out. And he and Will have this conversation about how he needs to come out to his mom. And this conversation, I understand in terms of a television show where they were going with it. But in terms of real life, Will is a little bit forceful with trying to get Jack to come out to his mom.
Yeah.
So, just as a heads up to other people who might not know, people have to come out on their own terms.
He made it seem like Jack was that way with him.
Right.
But I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, just let people do their thing.
Right. And he was trying to be supportive. It wasn't supposed to come across as that, and I get that. Like, it's a television show. You have, like, a 3-minute scene to get this person to this point, so you kind of have to at least seem a little bit forceful. Otherwise, it's like, you need to tell your mom. No, you need to tell your mom. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, there had to be something there. But in terms of real life, you cannot force someone to come out if they are not ready. I mean, it's difficult for people every single day. I mean, you don't just come out to your family. Every day you interact with new people who you have to come out to, and it's scary. I mean, just like with you, for instance, I didn't know how you were going to react when you found out that I was married to a woman.
Yeah, and I thought you just hated your husband.
Yeah. Yeah, so the story is Kelly added me on Facebook, and one of our coworkers who knew that I was gay asked Kelly, so you added Brittany on Facebook, did you notice anything at all? And she was like, yeah, she must really hate her husband because there are, like, no pictures of him on that. So he had to tell her, well, that's because she's married to a woman. And Kelly was like, oh, that makes so much more sense.
I mean, I thought you just were, like, hanging out with your best friend all the time, which, I mean, you are.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So, while Will and Jack are outside discussing this, that leaves his mother, Karen, and Grace in the dining room together. And they decide to continue the game, or I should say Karen decides to continue the game, because she reveals that her secret was she and Jack were bumping uglies the entire time Grace and Jack were together, which completely screws up the entire plan of Jack coming out, because this just complicates everything. They are fighting when Jack comes in and finally just says, stop it, this is enough. And he tells his mom that he's gay. And you think that at first she's taking it hard because she kind of takes a deep breath and she sits down. But then she just reveals, I just wish you would have told me. It's fine. I just want you to be happy. Which I loved that scene, especially like in this era of television shows. You had a lot of these situations being highly dramatic. And I just liked that she was just like, no, it's fine. I know that you're gay. I guess I always knew. I just wish you would have told me.
Yeah, I like that too, that they're so supportive.
Jack's mom starts crying, and he says, if you're okay with this, then why are you crying? And she says, because I have a secret too. The man you think is your father is not actually your father. And it shocks Jack. And this kind of sets up a storyline going into season 3 of Jack trying to find his biological father. And sadly, we don't do any episodes from season 3, so we don't really get into that. But basically what ends up happening is he goes through this whole search and he finds out that his biological father actually passed away a few months back.
Aww.
Yeah, so that really doesn't...
I'm glad we didn't watch that, because I would be crying.
But I think that it's also that season where Jack finds out that he has a biological son, because he donated to a sperm bank, and a lesbian couple used his sperm to conceive, and so he ends up having a son, and Rosie O'Donnell is the boy's biological mother, and actually allows the two of them to get to know each other, which I thought that was a pretty good storyline.
Nice.
Yeah. And I know we said we weren't going to discuss it, but I think that is a continued storyline into the new seasons.
Don't even talk about it.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
My lips are sealed. Moving on.
We're going to pretend like it didn't even happen.
Yep. Edit it out.
The whole new series.
The next episode we're talking about, I should have said, Homo for the Holidays was the #1 polled show. That was the one that had the most votes. Bed Bath & Beyond is the second highest ranking episode. And this episode deals with Grace. Her boyfriend has just broken up with her, and she is in bed distraught. She's been in bed for, I think they said 3 days. Will tries to cheer her up, to no avail. While he leaves the apartment, Jack enters the bedroom and makes things worse with a song. Karen also shows up to help, but things get a little weird to say the least. The three of them put Grace in a cold shower, which causes her to point out all of the negatives in their lives. She goes back to bed, and they follow. The next morning, she wakes up feeling better, knowing that she has such great friends.
So, my favorite part of this episode was when Will is telling Jack that Grace is gonna break out the slides from her childhood to figure out where it all went wrong, and Jack says, "I'd say it was the day she became a gay man and fell in love with you."
Yeah, which is absolutely true.
It is true. I mean, she's not a gay man, but she is in love with Will.
Yeah, at least on some level. And it's kind of sad because, honestly, if he was straight, I think that they would make an excellent couple.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I also have a note that says that Grace looks like Merida in this scene.
Is that the girl in Brave?
Yep.
Yeah, she does look like her.
Will is trying to cheer her up, and he's picking out all of these clothes and just throwing them on her as she's laying on the bed, and she's like, "Will, I look like I've been steamrolled." Also, the outfit is hideous.
It is hideous.
She really needed Jack in there for that.
Like, what even hat? Was that like a Daniel Boone hat? Like
it
a
looked like it.
tail?
Yeah. It was horrible.
Why does she even own that hat?
I don't know. You never see that on her head.
Maybe it was for a Halloween costume.
Maybe. That would make a lot more sense.
Like, I don't own that hat. Do you?
Will is leaving the apartment for some reason. I cannot remember. I have a son who has the flu right now, so I've been distracted. And he leaves the apartment as Jack is coming in. He tells Jack, "Do not go into that bedroom." Jack says, "I won't." Will says, "Okay, good," and leaves. Jack starts talking through the door and says, "I know you're just standing on the other side of the door, and I resent the fact that you don't trust me at all." And then he opens the door and sees that Will is gone and immediately runs into the bedroom. He starts bothering Grace. He's singing this song. I think it's called "One Less Bell to Answer." So it's basically saying this man has left. There's one less plate to set at the dinner table, one less bell to answer. And Grace just starts bawling. Will comes in and sees that Jack is bothering Grace. And Grace says one of the funniest things to him. She says, "Make it stop. Shake a can of pennies at it." As she's talking to Will about how she's feeling, she starts singing this song that Jack was singing, and every single time that Grace sings, it makes me wonder how Deborah Messing does not crack up at herself.
I don't know. They made her look real rough, though.
Yeah, they did.
I was thinking, like, did they spritz her with a thing of water, like, every scene, or what? Because they made her face look, like, all oily and...
Yeah, and they definitely made her hair unkempt.
Yeah.
So Karen comes in after Jack leaves, and she decides she's gonna help by reenacting the breakup. So it's something that her psychiatrist told her to do to cope with the fact that her husband is in prison. Stan went to prison, and so she's like, "Come on, give it a try. I'll be Nathan, you be Grace." So they go through this reenactment. And Grace is basically saying, "I don't know why we broke up." And Karen says, "Honey, it just wouldn't work." And she said, "But, I just don't understand. We worked so well together. The sex was great. Didn't you enjoy having sex with me?" And Karen's like, yeah, I did. Don't you miss having sex with me? I do. It ends up, Karen just grabs Grace's face and passionately kisses her, and it is the weirdest scene, but it cracked me up.
Yeah, and then she just leaves, and then somebody asks her to do something for Grace, and she's like, I probably shouldn't be the one to do it.
Yeah. I can't remember what she says when she walks out, but she just stands up and she's like, okay. I'm gonna go now. The other line that I liked, Grace is talking about how Nathan did something for her and how sweet it was, and Karen says, well, I never understood the mating rituals of the poor, but it sounds nice.
That cracked me up.
So Grace eventually gets out of bed, and she walks into the living room, and Will, Jack, and Karen are all dancing, and all I keep thinking when I watch them is, that is how I dance. If that was a popular dance, I would be really, really popular. Sadly, it is not.
It was really bad dancing. I'm bad at dancing too, though, so.
Yeah. I get made fun of by family members, but, you know, it is what it is.
Can't help it.
I just don't understand it. Like, I can play the drums. I can play guitar. I know how to keep beat, but I just cannot translate it when it comes to dancing.
I don't know how to do any of those things, so I get it, why I can't dance. My kids are really good at dancing, though.
I've seen videos, that is true.
I don't know where they get it from.
Just watching Blippi.
Probably. Blippi's a pretty good dancer. Hey,
Yeah.
Blippi! He's not listening to this. But...
I'm sure he's not. So while she walks in, a travel agent calls and leaves a message on her machine looking for Nathan, and she's wanting to book this trip with a woman named Susie, who apparently he's going on a romantic trip with. And obviously, this sends Grace right back into the depression that she was in. Which, what a fucking dick. Like, they just broke up. Am I right?
Yeah. Where'd Susie even come from?
Yeah, and she said, while she was interacting with Will, it was depressing because she wanted to get married and he wanted to break up. So they were so, involved with one another that she was thinking about marriage. And within 3 days, he's off taking a trip to the Bahamas with this new girl.
Yeah, that's devastating.
Karen thinks that the best way to take care of this situation is to call in the big guns. And she calls Rosario. And Rosario comes in and starts talking to her a little bit. And I guess Rosario's best way to help is to drag out a hose and hose a person down.
That's how she gets Karen out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, every morning. And they didn't have a hose, so she actually went in and she was a lot nicer. And she watched Grace's slideshow with her, which Will thought that he grabbed the box of slides, but it was a decoy.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed that, but when he finds out that that box was fake, he opens it up and digs the stuff out, and it's just like a quick shot. I'm fairly certain she stuffed tampons in that box.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to what was in it.
You'll have to go back and look. I am certain that it's tampons that she put in there.
That's hilarious. But when she's doing the slideshow with Rosario, she's just sitting there knitting.
Oh yes, I remember that. I love Rosario. She was a great addition to that cast.
And then she leaves and she's like, I like to have Jiffy Pop when I watch my movies or something like that.
Yeah, when she watches a slideshow, and that's when Will finds out that Grace still has the slides. They run in, they grab Grace, and they put her in the shower, which I guess is the equivalent of hosing her down. And she gets really upset about it, and she kind of goes into, I can't deal with it. I'm not like you guys. Will, your boyfriend of 7 years broke up with you, and you moved on, but I couldn't do that. You're so brave, but I couldn't do that. And Karen, your husband, is in jail and you're trying to cope on your own, and I just could not do that. Jack, you're a single man who's never had a meaningful relationship, and, you know, the fact that you can deal with that is great, but I can't do that. And it just kind of depresses all of them. And yeah, I get what she was going for, but it really wasn't a good thing to bring everybody else's stuff up.
I thought it was a dick move, but then your comment, I thought, yeah, she wasn't really meaning to be rude. She was trying to compliment them for being strong.
Right.
But it did make them all realize that they needed to snoogle more.
Snoogle. Hashtag snoogle. So, yeah, they all get in bed with Grace, and Jack says one of the funniest things when he came in, because everyone else is like, you're right, I'm not over my boyfriend, you're right, I can't really deal with my husband being in jail, and Jack walks in and says, when you said that I was what did he say, a singer and an actor, I noticed that you didn't say dancer, and I always thought that dance was my strong suit, and that's really depressing. So all of that, you've never had a meaningful relationship, meant nothing to him. He didn't care.
You know what really bothered me?
What?
That they all climbed into bed soaking wet.
Yes! That bothered me too. How are you comfortable?
You're not.
And Grace's hair the next day looked the same as it had the other days, which, yes, frizzy, but it would have been plastered to her head.
Yeah.
So, that didn't add up either.
It made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So she wakes up the next day, and she's happy, and she smiles at all of her friends sleeping, and she leaves the bedroom. So, they needed each other to kind of get through the night. I thought that was a good ending. But I do have a side note. I want to know why Will has a picture of a vagina flower hanging on his bar.
I don't know. Is that like a certain type of flower, or it just is like a painting of a vagina?
Yes, it's a portrait of a flower, but it's the flower that is always representing vaginas in art.
Oh, is it like a calla lily?
Maybe. I don't know. So, before we get into random facts, I just want to point out that our planner/winging it poll is already at 50-50.
Oh, did you post that?
Yeah, I did.
That's funny. Update on Scott Hamilton. I was Googling him on my phone. He, apparently had, like, a miracle. And he said he was, like, drinking a lot of water, taking supplements and essential oils, and his doctors don't understand it.
Well, good for him.
Says after being diagnosed with his third brain tumor, which originally he had prostate cancer, and then apparently had 3 brain tumors, it shrunk without treatment. And he said he was the recipient of a spectacular miracle. So I guess he's doing okay.
Good.
He has like 4 kids, and I'm pretty sure some of them are adopted. So I'm glad he's doing good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I don't even know him, and I'm glad to hear it.
He does backflips while figure skating.
So did the one chick.
Yeah.
That they were so excited to see.
Yep. I think Scott Hamilton originated it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I didn't fact check that, so...
So, speaking of facts, we'll go into random facts. The show was originally pitched as an ensemble cast with straight couples, but the only relationship that NBC was interested in was the one with a gay man living with a straight woman. I think that's probably just because, like, at that point, wasn't Friends out? I feel like it was. If it wasn't, they probably at least knew that they were going to be picking it up. So it was probably pretty similar to that, and they wanted something different, would be my guess.
I have no concept of time.
I really don't either. Like, I wasn't even in high school at this time. I was not thinking, what year is this? I need to remember this. Sean Hayes threw the pilot script away. He said it made him laugh out loud, but he never thought he would be able to make it to the audition in time to land the role. Plus, he would have had to buy his own plane ticket and thought there would be plenty of other sitcoms. And I am really glad that, I don't know how it happened, if he dug that out of the trash or if they contacted him, but I'm so glad he got that part.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I was going to say something, but you didn't get to that fact yet.
Deborah Messing says that she was bribed into taking the role when the creators came to her house with a bottle of vodka to pitch the idea. That is a good way to get someone on board.
Yeah.
I think that's how I talked you into this podcast.
Yep.
John Barrowman, I do not know who that is, but he is a gay actor. He lost out on the role of Will because producers thought that he was too straight.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually gay in real life.
Yeah. Actually gay. I'm looking him up. I've seen him on things before. I don't know what I've seen him in, though.
He's Scottish.
I know. Oh, The Untouchables. That's what it was. Okay. Anyway, my guess would be probably because there's such a stigma to it, or there was at that point, that he probably went so long, like, acting straight for roles that, like, he didn't act gay. Megan Mullally chose playing Karen over playing Carrie on The King of Queens.
That's the one I was going to say. She had a good choice. I like King of Queens, but I don't feel like she would have been a good Carrie.
Yeah, she was made for the Karen role.
She's not chill enough, which I like that about her, but Carrie on King of Queens, she's just kind of chill. She wouldn't be like drinking martinis every night, which I know that's just part of her character, but I like that character for her.
Me too. Also, she plays Gail on Bob's Burgers.
That's hilarious. I love Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, I know. We really do have to do a season of shows that are either currently running or just, more recent shows, I suppose, because there are so many that while I'm watching it, it's like, oh, that would have been a good one. Game of Thrones. We're just one season off from being able to do a Game of Thrones episode.
I embarrassingly have not watched any episodes of that.
It's so
Yet.
good. You and I share a Vudu account. We have those.
Like, I don't
They're
have
all on
time.
there. That's true, and you have kids, and it's hard to watch that stuff in front of kids. Don't watch it in front of your kids.
I won't. I've been watching Good Girls in front of them, which is borderline inappropriate. I mean, it has bad words and guns, so it's probably really inappropriate, but they don't pay attention that much.
Right.
It's not like a bunch of sex and murdering.
Yeah, well, and isn't it on, like, what is it, prime time on NBC? Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. It's not like Dexter.
I know. I still have to watch those episodes because, like I said, my kid has the flu. He's been clingy, and I have not been able to watch those episodes. I'm going to have to sneak it on my phone or something.
I, gave myself suspense because I watched the second episode that we're doing, except for the last 8 minutes, which is, when everything in that episode happens.
That's true. I remember that episode. The next fact I have, Hispanic rights group got the word tamale replaced with honey. Karen's signature honey when she's talking to Rosario. Because they believed that the way in which it was delivered could be interpreted as an ethnic slur. And Shelley Morrison, who played Rosario, said that there were 2 times that she had concerns about lines being demeaning, and the producers changed them with no pushback each time, which I respect that. A lot of times producers see things a specific way, and they fight for that. But the fact that someone said they found it offensive, I'm glad that they listened, because, you could get pulled off the air for that, especially in today's age. You say one wrong thing, and you're done.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Roseanne Barr.
She said some more stuff.
Oh, she just keeps saying stuff. She needs to
know.
lay off the Ambien.
I mean, I don't... You said ambient.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, I don't really listen to the news and stuff, and not the gossip news or whatever, but I heard what Sugarcoat Free was saying about her, and they were like, well, I mean, she doesn't have anything to lose, so she might as well just say whatever she wants.
Yeah, and that's true.
It is true.
I also liked that they were like, you know, what she said in that instance, she was right, but she's still a bitch, so we're not listening to it.
Yeah. And I think it was Asia was like, if it was anybody else, it would be true. But since she said it, it's not true.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
But the reason that I'm so pissed off is Roseanne actually was one of the highest ranked shows, the original Roseanne.
Yeah, we actually liked that show, and she had to ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, we wanted to do that show because regardless of what she said, the show still stands on its own, but we couldn't find it anywhere because she ran off at the mouth and they pulled it from everything. So
yeah, and we are like, we say our opinions on stuff, but we are really, really, really trying to stay politics free.
Yeah, they were able to do another show without her, but you had all of these people who were also affected by what you said.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say politics, more controversy free.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just so upset because I really wanted to do that show, and now it's on Vudu for free, but we've already set,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Roseanne.
You ruined it for us.
I'm just kidding. If you want to come on here and do an interview, whatever. I'm just kidding. Yeah, right. We would get, blacklisted. We're trying to have, a good podcast that people like and not boycott.
Yeah. Maybe it's a good thing we couldn't do it. Although I don't think that would have. People understand. Art is art. It's not really endorsing it, especially if the show is free on Vudu. But
That's true. That's true. I'm just saying if she wanted to come on here and do an interview.
Oh, I gotcha.
That would be...
Yeah, that was a joke.
Yeah, that was a joke. We don't want you. Sorry, you made your bed. You could lay in it.
That's true. A spin-off starring Karen was considered, but minds were changed after the failed Joey spin-off of Friends.
Spin-offs always fail.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that with The Office when there was supposed to be a Dwight spin-off, and that didn't work either.
For Private Practice, that's still going, isn't it?
It is, and my favorite spin-off of all time, Law & Order SVU.
I don't watch any of those.
It's by far better than the original. I'm so upset with you.
I don't watch... Why?
Olivia Benson, come on, she's like in... Oh my god. I'm done with you. Moving on.
Bye. See you next Tuesday.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding.
I am highly offended right now. In 2014, you could find Will and Grace props in the Smithsonian as part of an LGBTQ collection, which I can get that. I don't think that there was a show as progressive as Will and Grace in this time frame. I mean, there were gay characters, but I think this was pretty much the first. They really talk about gay culture and stuff in that show. So,
yeah. It's I just want to say on the DL that I know a lot of conservative people, really conservative people, that really like this show.
Yeah. Did you have to, get super close to the mic and whisper that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's on the DL.
It's on the DL, but also being broadcasted to anybody with internet access.
Jack's Cher doll is worth $60,000.
Cher. Oh, Cher. I was thinking Share. Share. I'm like, what's a Cher doll?
Okay, this conversation mixed with you thinking that I hated my husband on Facebook, plus a few other things that you have said on this podcast, are just confirming the fact that you are a rose in terms of the Golden Girls.
That I what?
That you're a rose.
Oh, I definitely am a rose.
Yep.
I'm such a rose. I'm so dumb, a lot of the time. And, I'm not dumb. I'm just, oblivious. I'm in my own little world, thinking about, sprinkles and sparkles and rainbows and shit.
Again, you're a freak.
I am a freak.
Yep.
But the good kind, not the weird,
that is true,
super weird kind.
Yeah, I don't mean it, in a creepy way.
Yeah, I'm like the fun aunt. I'm like the cool mom.
Yeah. I can see that. You're like
Just kidding.
Amy Poehler on Mean Girls.
Yeah, except for my boobs are real.
Last little tidbit I have before we go into polls and social media comments. The show won 51 awards, ranging from Screen Actors Guild Awards and Emmys. So, Kelly, do you want to take it away with the polls and social media?
Yeah. So we had a poll that was which Will and Grace pairing makes the best scene in an episode. And the winner was Jack and Karen with 60%. There was actually 0% Will and Grace, which is the name of the show, people. 20% Grace and Karen, and 20% Will and Jack.
I agree with that, though. Jack and Karen, that should have been the name of the show.
Yeah. Bye, Will. Bye, Grace. I'm just kidding. But, okay, who's the most quotable character on Will and Grace? Once again, 0% Will, 0% Grace. 50% Jack, and 50% Karen. So I guess they should have named it Jack and Karen.
Yeah, and I also agree with that, because those two, it's so hard to choose between those two. I admire all of you who've actually voted, because I couldn't choose.
Yeah. I would say Karen if I had to pick, but I can see Jack too. So, yeah, 50-50, I get that.
I would have said Karen before I did this podcast, but I quoted Jack so much, like in my notes, that I started thinking...
Yeah, I did too, because he said, well, you went wrong when you grew up and became a gay man.
Yeah.
And then the poll for the episodes, which you kind of already touched on this, 43% said Homo for the Holidays, which we talked about. 29% said Bed Bath & Beyond, which we talked about. 14% said Gypsies, Tramps, and Weed, which we did not talk about, but I would be interested in talking about. 14% Secrets and Lays.
Cher is in Gypsies, Tramps, and Weed.
And we didn't do that?
No, it didn't get that many. I thought for sure that was going to be one of the top ones. But
oh my gosh.
She
Brittany loves Cher.
Oh, yes, I do. And Jack in that episode meets Cher, which is what he has been wanting to do. And he mistakes her for a drag queen and tells her that she's not doing a good Cher impression.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so...
That's hilarious.
I would do that impression, but I am not drunk enough.
Keep drinking. Maybe you can do it for our Patreon.
That is true. I will do that. That will be our exclusive content.
Okay, so favorite overall moments. Amanda Martin sent us a gif of just Jack, and she also said, this was funny, but my favorite episode was when Rosario's daughter showed up to her funeral. Minnie Driver is awesome.
Yeah.
And Lauren H. Logan, which, hi girl, I thought you disappeared. Because I guess you didn't like Dawson's Creek.
Because you didn't comment on one episode that we did, yeah.
Okay, but she's like a loyal commenter.
That is true.
Anyway, she said, the ice skating one where we find out Jack and Grace both love to watch figure skating. I love figure skating too, and was super excited to hear them talk about Surya
Bonalay, I think.
Bonalay.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
I actually did not mention that. They did mention her in that episode, and she is the one that Jack says, she scares me. I crave her.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I think she was the one that did the backflip.
Yes, she was.
Right?
Yep.
I'm going to have to look that up and see who did it first. Her or Scott Hamilton.
Yes.
I'll let you guys know. Okay. Favorite Karen moment. TV Tangents at TV Tangents Pod said Anastasia, like Russian royalty, and Beaverhausen, like where the beavers live.
Yeah. So, do you get that reference? Do you remember that?
No.
Anastasia Beaverhausen is her, I want to say alter ego, but it's not really. It's like her alias. So when she goes places and she doesn't want people to know that Karen Walker is there, she tells them that her name is Anastasia Beaverhausen.
That's
and
funny. My alias is Kelly Kapowski.
Kelly Kapowski. That's a good one. Mine is Britney Spears. It's Britney, bitch.
I love that. Okay, and Jessica Boyer Roadhaver?
Rodehaver. Yes.
Roadhaver. Do you know her?
Yes. She is actually my cousin.
Okay. Oh, hey. What's up? Anyway, she sent a gif of Karen with 2 boxes of wine saying, "Look what I brought. Juice boxes." And that is definitely my style. And then there's another gift she sent that says, "Honey, I'm busy. Touch yourself." And she says, "Honestly, Karen is the best." I agree with that.
Yep.
Karen is awesome.
The juice boxes, that is something that I'm so sad Mark is not here because we do that. I do not like wine at all, but every time he is up, he gets a box of wine.
Well, you need to invite me next time because I love box wine.
I will. Actually, I have a picture of Mark looking fabulous carrying his box wine out of Kroger the last time he was up, and I will post that to Twitter.
Good. I want to see that. Okay. Favorite Jack moments from Will and Grace. Captain James 88 on Instagram says, "My favorite Jack moments are when he and Val get together."
Yeah, and then he says, so series 3 and 4, which I think that's like season 3 and 4, and 9.
Okay.
Yeah, he likes the way that they are together. So Val is, if I remember correctly, Molly Shannon. Yeah.
I love her.
I do too. And she...
Superstar.
Yeah, she is somehow involved with Grace. I don't know how they got involved or whatever, but she's absolutely crazy. So you can imagine how she and Jack are together.
That's funny. I also like when she tells Evian to go drink a bottle of yourself.
Yeah, when she did that character on Saturday Night Live, there was an episode where Tina Turner was on, and Tina Turner is trying to get her to like be better, and she was like, in order to convey this song, you have to reach deep down inside yourself. And she said, "My grandma told me not to do that. God hates that."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I will never forget that episode.
Okay, then on Facebook we asked about how Will explains to Grace that he never got what he wanted for his birthday as a child. Do you remember a birthday where you were disappointed? And Elizabeth Hall said she is still waiting for the Lego monorail that she asked for her birthday and Christmas several years in a row. We're really sorry, Elizabeth Hall.
Yeah. You're probably, this is just a hunch, Elizabeth Hall. You're probably still going to continue waiting because you have a child now and your wife is more concerned about him getting toys than you.
Well, if we get enough Patreon supporters, we might be able to get you that monorail.
Are you kidding? I am not buying her that.
Is it expensive or are you just out of spite?
It's not super expensive, but you've seen the amount of Legos we have in this house. She has enough.
Yeah, I guess, but she can play with them with Reed.
When he's older.
Okay, I'm gonna side with her on this one, kind of like how you side with Chad on the whole, not Xbox, Jesus, PlayStation 4. So we'll just agree to disagree on that one.
Okay, but she has a damn job.
Yes, she could buy it herself.
Like, I don't monitor what she buys. Why do I have to buy it?
Yeah. Hey, Elizabeth Hall, just buy it yourself.
Yeah. So, that's it for this.
Can I just say our Patreon shoutouts?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
First I want to say we have a Patreon now because if you happen to have some extra money you don't know what to pay monthly for, just go ahead and donate it to us. We would greatly appreciate it and we will not say no. And so far we have one supporter, and her name happens to be Elizabeth Hall.
Imagine
So thank
that.
you very much.
Yes.
And I will answer your question on our exclusive. So stay tuned.
Yeah, so after we're done recording this, we're gonna do a short Q&A talking about like our favorite television shows. We each picked out a couple questions to ask the other. We're gonna do that. We also have it out on both Twitter and Facebook. I'm not sure if I posted it on Instagram, where you can ask us anything. It does not have to be related to the podcast, does not have to be related to television. That poll's gonna be going for a little while longer, so you can ask us anything you want and we will answer it on that. And you can
We will try to answer it.
We will try to answer it. That's true.
If it's outrageous, I don't know.
No, you can find all of that information both on Twitter and Facebook at the Faves of Our L1. That's at the Faves of Our L and the number 1. Same with our Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/the Faves of Our L1. You can find us there. We will actually be recording our Dexter episode tomorrow. We're gonna hold off a little bit on posting that so that we're kind of getting on a schedule for you guys, but we're really excited about that. We have our friend Richard on, and he actually is a forensic scientist, so he's going to tell us a little bit about what's accurate and what's not. And I have a feeling that there's
He's kind of a dick.
yeah. So I have a feeling that he's probably going to tell us that a lot of it is inaccurate, but we'll see. I could be wrong.
Probably.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll have more content out for you soon. Bye.
Bye!